Hey guys, so I'm back with my quick, or not so quick maybe, Netflix banters. I never exactly know how long these are gonna go, but I just finished watching My Girl from 1991. I've never seen this one before, and I know already that it's mostly going to be nostalgia packed for most people. Straight off the get-go, it seems like that kind of film. I could already feel just the way it was structured and played out, and how cutesy and mushy a lot of the things were about it, especially with the cast as well. That it was gonna probably hold a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people, and I went into it as the movie progressed, as like during the second and third acts, knowing that that was going to be what a lot of people are going to feel about it most, probably growing up with it, which I have not. But I've had other films that were similar in the making that maybe I would consider mediocre or less than mediocre or really great films, but I love specifically because they are so nostalgic for me. And that's the type of film that this certainly is, especially being right out of the early 90s and introducing Macaulay Culkin in his child glory days, and Anna Chlumsky, which actually did a phenomenal job in the film too. And then with Jamie Lee Curtis and Dan Aykroyd in the mix, get a really big early 90s cast that takes you back to the actors, at least. Took me back to the actors, even though I haven't seen the film until now. But I am going to, any review I make, I consider a spoiler review, because I'm the type of person that loves to go in blind into any film. And I just consider talking about a film in general to be a spoiler. That's how I am. And I avoid reviews if I haven't seen a film that I really want to watch blindly or not know anything about. So I'm going to explain this as brief as possible, and then I'm going to start talking about more about things that happen in the film that could be taken as a spoiler. So if you want to see the film first, just go watch it and then come back to the review, which is exactly what I would do. But if you've seen the film, then we can talk about it, and if you don't care, then we can talk about it, and if you just want a quick synopsis, well, here we go. So Harry, played by Danny Aykroyd, and Veda, played by Anna Chlumsky, it's a hard last name to pronounce, live in a home that's also a funeral parlor. And Dan Aykroyd's character, Harry, has the funeral parlor going downstairs as his own business, and also hosts funerals in his home. And this takes place in 1972 as well. And he's a widow, and he ends up meeting this woman who comes to apply at the funeral home accidentally, funny enough, because she was a makeup artist and is a makeup artist, and he's hiring somebody to do makeup on deceased bodies, and she's not fully aware of this, but she takes the job anyway, and she starts getting close to the daughter as well, and you start to follow Veda, the young girl, and her best friend, Thomas J. Sennett, throughout the film, played by Macaulay Culkin, and they form a really close bond, and they hang out all the time and kind of take each other's minds off everything that's going on. Veda has, she's surrounded by death all the time, and she also has a grandma that's going very senile, and Macaulay Culkin is just pretty much a down to earth, chill kid, and they don't have, like, they don't really form a romance or anything like that, but they kind of have this best friend vibe that they act like, just how kids would hang out and just do random stuff together around the neighborhood in the early 70s when it takes place. And basically it ensues from there, and things in everybody's lives start to get complicated with relationships that go on, and things that other people don't agree with, and other characters coming to the film, and then it plays out like a comedy and a drama. So there's a lot of funny moments, and there's also a lot of tragic moments as well, especially being that the main premise deals at a funeral parlor. So that is your basic premise. And what I suggest is, if you haven't seen the film, go and watch it yourself. But if you don't care about spoilers, here we go. Spoiler territory from here on in. This is known as one of the most tragic films of its time. I knew that going in. I knew that part. I just had no idea what was gonna happen out of it. And it, how can I divide my notes between my thoughts on the film? My thoughts on the film, I really liked it from the beginning on the first act, for sure. It plays on comedy and drama decently enough, but it just doesn't know how to all the time. I think that's the biggest thing I had with the film. This might have been completely different if I watched it as a kid. I get it. I'm watching it for the first time at 31, okay? I did not grow up with this movie. I've never seen it before. But the structure of the film was so well done in the first act to the second act. Then it started getting like too sloppily directed, like, because it started out so good and so progressively in a way that was flowing so well. I don't know why the flow just stopped in the second act of the film and going on to the third. It felt like the writing and the directing just weakened, and it didn't take me out of the film. I overall, it gave me enough laughter, and it gave me enough chuckles and moments, and heart as well. There's enough heart in this film to make it good and to make it watchable. It's not. I mean, it's cheesy, but it's not disgustingly cheesy. You know what I mean? It doesn't leave that bad taste in your mouth. It's a story that's enjoyable. It's just not structured. It has a lot of bad moments in it. I would say it's not. I'm trying to find the word for it. It doesn't flow continuously in one way. I guess is the best way I can put it off the top of my head right now. Like, I didn't see any chemistry with Jamie Lee Curtis and Dan Aykroyd at all. I don't know what relationship she was coming out of to be with Dan Aykroyd, but I didn't see any chemistry with it. I don't know, maybe she was. They could have explored that more to explain her character and where she was coming from with her previous marriage. There's a lot of things in the film that they actually would bring up, and then I was afraid right through the third act that they were just going to forget about them, and then I was just going to hate the film, because that would just be another thing to add into sloppy writing, is when you bring things up that don't get explained later, like in the trailer of Jamie Lee Curtis's, when Veda takes the money to buy the writing class. Those writing class moments were actually really funny. They brought some humor to the film in a good way. But you would think that it would be brought up at some point, because Shelby eventually starts dating Harry, and you would think that she would have to bring that up to her at some point, and you're wondering, is Shelby gonna be really pissed at Veda, like you would expect her to be, or what's gonna go on with that? Veda and Shelby's relationship too, again with chemistry, it started off like they really liked each other, and I never saw Veda at any point in the movie up to the middle have a bad relationship with Shelby, and I didn't even know where that came from, because they introduced them right off the bat really well. Like, not having any problems with each other, and Veda not having any problems with Shelby, and obviously Shelby loving Veda as a potential future stepdaughter. But then Veda all of a sudden turns a switch and starts going against Shelby. The writing just wasn't there to make that kind of situation believable. They could have, I don't know, played with it more, or just made a better story. I think that that would have been a better outcome if they just worked a little bit on that a lot more. It's a very mixed relationship, I find. The whole scene at the backyard barbecue where Jamie Lee Curtis's ex-husband comes into the picture, that whole scene is stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That whole scene is where the film, from first act to second act, just went because the writing and the direction is dumb. I guess maybe it's a 90s romantic family comedy drama trope that they had going on with the writing there. Maybe the goofiness was in at that time, or the sappiness. That's how they wanted to mix comedy with drama. But I don't know, every time I see a film like that, I'm just like, can't you write this better? Can't you make this more believable? Because the whole scene is not believable. For like, her husband somehow finds her, he starts trespassing, and then Dan Aykroyd he's cool at first before he starts, fighting him, but I don't know, the whole situation is just stupid. It's really, really dumb. And yeah, you can forgive it if this whole film was nostalgic for you, because I'm sure I would too. But I can't help noticing how silly of a scene like that and scenes like that are throughout the film. Even some in the classroom with the teacher, when they're like the comedy that they throw into those scenes, but the comedy with those makes sense and they actually pay off. So at least most of them do, and I wouldn't say every single one does, but of course this film has a lot of things going in it that probably wouldn't happen today. They deal with the senile grandmother, which I found pretty funny, and I laughed, but damn, like they joke around with dementia a lot, and having, according to one advertisement I saw in the film, grandma's got a screw loose or something along those lines. They really didn't treat it as a touchy subject like they probably would a lot more in something that would be made today. They would probably take that a lot more seriously, but they really goofed around with her. And I wouldn't go as far as like mean spirited, but it was definitely something you look at and think about, and it's like, huh, I want to laugh, but should I be? Because you're kind of on both ends with her, I found. But I still, laughed because, I mean, when it's funny, it's funny. Great performances all around, too, from the whole cast. They did a really good job. And they did great for what they had. There's nothing wrong with the acting in here. And even if the script wasn't top notch all the time, the actors and actresses all did amazing. So, really fun stuff. Really heartfelt stuff. Didn't make me cry, unfortunately. But, oh yeah, that's another thing that with the whole funeral scene at the end, I get what they were trying to go for there, and they were trying to make it really heartfelt, but it could have been stronger in a way. I don't know what they would have done to make it stronger, but there's just some things that, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too critical on it, but I guess I'll just leave it at that. It didn't give me that, oh my god, that's so sad, saddest thing I've ever seen. I've seen way sadder than that. Not that it wasn't sad, the whole idea of the film is tragic, but I've seen, things that hit the feels way harder than that. And you would think that they would want to go hit the feels with a subject matter like that harder, but that's probably what they were avoiding. Actually, that's definitely what they were avoiding, sticking to family-friendly comedies, so that makes a lot more sense with the concept of what they were going for. But anyway, that leaves it at that, and I've pretty much wrapped up all my thoughts, and going on way too long, so there's another Netflix banter for you. Check it out if you haven't already. I recommend it. Cheers.